Okay, we're going to go over the spiraling worksheet, week number 6. Number 1 says, given the data set below, f equals -2,5, -4,7, 0, -3, ab. Which of the following ordered pairs would define f as a function? So we are trying to figure out which one of these ordered pairs, if I replaced right here a and b with one of these ordered pairs, would this still continue to be a function? So that means my x's cannot repeat. So if I look at a, this is a -4. I also have a -4 here, so that would not work. B, I have a 0 in my x value, and this has a 0 for the x, so that one would not work. C, I have a 1 right here, and I do not have a 1 listed, so it looks like C is going to be it. And D was a -2, and I had a -2 already listed, so D, of course, would not be it. So C would have been the correct answer. Number 2 says, given the function f of x equals -4x plus 3, if the replacement set for the independent variable is 0, 2, 4, 6, what is the set for the dependent variable? So independent variable would be for the x's. So these are my x values. They're asking me to find the y values. So I could replace my x with each one of those numbers given to me in this set right here. -4 times 2 plus 3. I could do -4 times 4 plus 3, and then -4 times 6 plus 3. And if I worked all of those out, I would end up with a +3, a -5, a -13, and then a -21. These would be my y values. So that would be my dependent variable. So number 3 is asking for the domain for the graph. So domain would be my x values. So because this is a continuous graph, I just need to know what my endpoint values are. So this one is 1, 2, 3. This is at -3. I'm going to do a less than. I'm not putting an equal to because this is an empty circle. And then domain is x. So again, a less than. And my highest end value, 1, 2, 3, +4. And because this end is on a filled-in circle, or a closed circle, it's going to get the equal to. So this would be my domain for this particular graph. Number 4 says, given the function f of x equals 7x minus 12, find f of -4. So remember, this is a fancy way of writing a y, so this is my fancy way of writing my x. So I have 7 times -4 minus 12. And if I work that out, then I have a -28 minus 12. And if I combine those terms, I'm going to end up with a -40. So my answer for number 4 would be f of x equals -40. Okay, number 5 says, write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line passing through the points -2, 21, and then 5, -35. So I think the easiest is just if we pull up the calculator. And I am going to go to New Documents, and I want a list or a spreadsheet, and we're going to fill in the 2 points that they gave us. So my first point was a -2 was the x. The other x value was a +5. And the y value from the first point was 21. The y value from the second point was -35. So once I have that in there, all I have to do is go to Menu, 4, 1, and then 3, and type in x for the x list and y for the y list, and then enter. And you can see that my slope, the m, is -8, and my y-intercept is 5. So my answer for number 5 would be y equals a -x plus 5. Number 6 says, write an equation in slope-intercept form for a line that is parallel to y equals 3x minus 7 and passes through the point -3, -7. So we're wanting slope-intercept form. We know that is the y equals mx plus b. We need it to be parallel to this equation. So parallel means we're going to have same slope. So I need to know what the slope is for this equation. Well, it's in slope-intercept form, so I can pick it out. The slope is m. That means my new slope for my new equation is going to be the very same. So I still need it to be an m, and it's going to pass through this point, -3 and -7. So if I have a point and I have a slope, I can put it into point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So let's plug everything in. So I have y minus a -7 means plus 7 equals, my m is going to be 3 times x minus the x value, which is -3. So minus a negative means we're actually adding. And then all I have to do is distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So I have y plus 7 equals 3x plus 9. I'm isolating my y, so get rid of this 7 by subtracting. And then I will have 3x, and then 9 minus 7 would be a positive 2. So there would be my answer for number 6. Okay, and number 7, we are going to find the solution to the system of equations. So, of course, we can do that on our calculators. So I've got the calculator up. We're going to go to a new page, so I can do Control Doc to get me to a new page. And we can do Add a Calculator, or I could have gone to Scratchpad, either one. But I'm going to go to Menu, 3, and then 2 for solving a system. And everything looks good, so I'm just going to hit the OK and Enter. And then I type in my two equations that I have. So y equals -2x plus 6 is the first one. The second equation is 2x minus 8y equals 24. And then Enter. And there would be my answer, 4, -2. So let's put this back up. So 4, -2. Okay, let's look at number 8. We are just simplifying on number 8. So I'm going to kind of rewrite this so that I have my like bases together. So I have r squared over r. I have v to the 0. And then I have t to the 5th over t to the 3rd. Okay, that makes it a little easier to see. So this one, I'm going to say 4 divided by 2, which is just 2. And the next one, I have r to the 2nd over r to the understood 1. So because it's division, I am subtracting my exponent. So 2 minus 1 will give me 1. So I'll just have an r. V to the 0 power, anything raised to 0 power is 1. So really, I can just cancel that out. And then I've got t to the 5th over t to the 3rd. Again, it's a division, so 5 minus 3 is going to give me 2. And so there would be my final answer. Okay, number 9, again, we're simplifying. I'm going to try to take care of whatever I can inside my parentheses. So again, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull everything apart. So I've got 2 over a -4. And then I have a to the -2 over a to the -2. And I have b to the 4th over b to the -5. And then I have c to the 2nd over c to the -7. And I'll worry about this -1 exponent on the outside of the parentheses in a minute. So let's see what we can do. So I've got 2 divided by a -1/4. That is just going to give me a -1/2. Then I have a to the -2 over a to the -2. Well, we do know that anything over itself is just 1. So again, it's kind of like it just cancels itself out. On the b's, I have b to the 4th over b to the -5. Remember last problem, we just said that if it's division, we are subtracting. So you need to be careful on this, because if I do 4 minus a -5, that really is going to be 4 plus 5. So I'm going to end up with b to the +9. And then if I do the same thing with my c's, I have 2 minus a -7 which will be 2 plus a positive 7, so I'll end up with c to the positive 9. So this is kind of what I have right there. And then all of that is going to be raised to the negative 1 power. So that means I'm distributing the negative 1 to every term in there. So let me get another color so we can see. I'll do it down here. So if I distribute this, I'm going to have a negative 1 raised to the negative 1. I will have b to the 9th raised to the negative 1. I will have c to the 9th raised to the negative 1. And I'll have 2 on the bottom raised to the negative 1. Okay, so if we, anything that has a negative exponent, I need to flip, right? So let's go ahead and multiply these. So I'm going to end up with negative 1 raised to negative 1 still. B to the 9 times negative 1, it'll be a negative 9. C to the negative 9 over 2 to the negative 1. Okay, now let's do some flipping. All of these are negative exponents, so this whole entire thing is just going to flip over. So I will have 2 to the positive 1 over negative 1 to the positive 1, and then b to the positive 9 and c to the positive 9. So we can simplify still. 2 to the positive 1 is just 2. Negative 1 raised to the positive 1 is still negative 1. And then my b's, b to the positive 9 stays, c to the positive 9 stays. So this is what I'm going to end up having for my final answer. And I don't know that I like this negative 1 down here. If we put a negative 2 over b to the 9th, c to the 9th, we could have written it like this, negative 2 over b to the 9th, c to the 9th. All of these really mean the same thing. I think this is probably what you would see in the end for your answer. But all three of these really mean the very same thing. Okay, number 10 says identify the slope and the y-intercept and then graph. So this is in slope-intercept form, which makes it easy. So my slope is 1/2. My y-intercept is -5. So on the y-axis, I go to -5. And then I'm going to go up 1 and over 2, up 1 and over 2, up 1 and over 2, down 1 and over 2 if I want to go the opposite direction. I need to connect my points, look at my inequality sign. It has an equal to, so this will be a solid line. And then my inequality is a greater than, so that means we are going to shade above my line. So all of this will get shaded above, and there'd be my answer for number 10.